It's one of the great Hollywood mysteries. How does a movie that pretty much bombs at the box office go on to become the #1 rated film of all time? Well, that's the incredible story of the Shawshank Redemption. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really dig into how this underdog masterpiece pulled off the impossible. So that's the big question, isn't it? The central paradox we're exploring, a film that was, for all intents and purposes, a commercial failure when it came out. Critics were divided, and yet it somehow became the top-rated movie ever, according to millions of people. Let's unpack exactly how that happened. All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at that paradox, the initial failure. Then we'll go back to where it all started, with Stephen King. We'll compare the book to the movie, track its amazing comeback, and finally, really get into the powerful themes that make this film an absolute classic. So let's start with the release. It's 1994, and Shawshank just lands with a thud. It had to compete with huge hits, and it didn't help that a really harsh review from the Los Angeles Times called it a big glob of cotton candy. Ouch. And if you look at the numbers, it's kind of shocking. It cost $25 million to make, and it only brought in about $28 million during its first run. In Hollywood, that's a flop. The movie was seriously on the verge of just disappearing. But to really get this story, we've got to go back to the beginning. And you might be surprised where that is. It all starts with the master of horror, Stephen King. But this story isn't a horror story at all. The movie is actually based on a novella from a collection called Different Seasons. This was King stepping outside his usual lane. A young director, Frank Darabont, read it, saw the magic in it, and bought the film rights for just $5,000. And get this, King supposedly never even cashed the check. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. Turning that novella into a movie wasn't just a copy-paste job. Darabont made some really crucial, really smart changes to make the story hit harder on the big screen. Just look at Andy himself. In the book, he's described as this short, kind of small guy. But in the movie, they cast the 6'5" Tim Robbins. The idea wasn't to match the description, but to find someone who could truly project that incredible inner strength and resilience Andy has. And the changes didn't stop there. Red in the book is a white Irishman. In the movie, he's the iconic character played by Morgan Freeman. The story streamlined the villains, focusing on the truly awful Boggs. Tommy's fate is way more tragic in the film. He gets murdered by the warden, which makes the warden a pure absolute monster. And the ending? The book just kind of leaves you hanging. The movie, though, gives us that powerful feel-good reunion on the beach. It's the emotional payoff we were all waiting for. You'd think 7 Oscar nominations would have saved it at the box office, right? Nope. But Shawshank's story was far from over. Its real journey to greatness was about to begin. Not in theaters, but in people's living rooms. This timeline really shows the film's incredible comeback. In 1995, it became the #1 video rental of the year, all thanks to people telling their friends, "You have to see this movie." Then, in '97, it became a staple on cable TV, finding a massive new audience. It was this slow, steady burn that led to 2008, when it was voted the #1 film of all time on IMDb, a title it still holds today. So why? What is it about this movie that connects with so many people so deeply? Well, the answer is in its themes, these huge, universal ideas that speak to all of us, whether we're in a prison or not. That line really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? At its core, the movie is a story about holding on to who you are, your own self-worth, even when it feels like the world is trying to crush you. Andy's hope isn't loud or flashy. It's this quiet, stubborn refusal to give up. And on the flip side of hope, the film gives us this really powerful and kind of scary idea of being institutionalized. It's what happens when you get so used to the walls around you that you can't even imagine life without them. We see the tragic end of that with Brooks, and it's the very thing Red is so terrified of when he finally gets out. It's that constant battle against despair. Oh man, the Mozart scene. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Andy locks himself in the warden's office and blasts this beautiful opera aria for the whole prison to hear. And for just a few minutes, as Red says, every last man in Shawshank felt free. It's the perfect picture of what the movie's about. That your real freedom, the kind that lives inside you, can never, ever be taken away. And the film's impact, well, it goes way beyond just making us feel something. It has left a real, tangible mark on our culture. I mean, we're not just talking about a popular movie anymore. This thing is a cultural institution. In 2015, it was officially preserved in the National Film Registry. The old prison where they filmed it, it's a huge tourist attraction now. The Shawshank Trail brings in over $16 million a year for that local community. It's incredible. The movie has truly become a part of the landscape. So in the end, it's kind of poetic, right? The movie's own journey from a box office failure to this beloved icon perfectly mirrors Andy's journey of patience and not giving up. It leaves us with this one simple but really powerful question. Andy's tool was a little rock hammer chipping away at a wall for 19 years. It makes you think, no matter what walls we're up against, we all have our own tools to carve out a little freedom for ourselves.